Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. So in my previous episode, I had mentioned that I will be spending this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Fan Expo Denver. And if you wanted to follow me there, please do follow my Instagram, which is Cinematic Sarcastic Podcast. And I'll be kind of doing some live stuff there and showing you kind of around Fan Expo with me. One of the reasons that I am super excited to go to Fan Expo Denver this year is that Charlie Hunnam is coming to Denver this year. We have a pretty good lineup of people coming to Denver, probably the best one that I've seen since I started going to like Comic-Cons and expos and things. So I thought we would do this episode talking about my favorite Charlie Hunnam movie. I know most people know Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy, Green Street Hooligans. He's done quite a few things that I feel like have been pretty popular, but my favorite movie of Charlie Hunnam's, of course, will be one that not very many people seemed to have enjoyed, and that is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is probably in my top 10, if there is such a thing as a movie nerd having a top 10. I completely love it. I love all of that sort of fantasy realm type stuff. So King Arthur, Robin Hood, any of those classic stories that deal with fantasy, Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff are always, always, always my favorite. King Arthur is definitely a tale that's been done to death, right? Everyone has done it. They do it periodically every couple of years. We get like a new King Arthur, it feels like. And the majority of them, I would say, are pretty similar. And that is why I love King Arthur, Legend of the Sword so much. The cast is great, but the story is what nabbed me. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is the first time I have ever seen a King Arthur tale where the story is completely unique. It is completely its own thing. They went in a direction completely of their own, and I appreciate that. Normally in like Arthurian legends, you always kind of hear that tale of him, pulling the sword from the stone. He then becomes, this great king. He's trained by Merlin. He has, all of these things. You get like Morgana and like all of those cast of characters. This is a completely different cast of characters that I appreciate. In King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, you have Charlie Hunnam, who plays King Arthur. He is kind of separated from his family. So Eric Bana plays his father, Uther Pendragon. At the very beginning of the movie, you see June Law, who plays kind of Eric Bana's brother. So Uther Pendragon's brother, he would be. He attacks the castle, kills Eric Bana, and ends up basically making Charlie Hunnam an orphan because his mother has been killed as well. So this King Arthur tale ends up with King Arthur being raised like in the slums of London, or Londinium as it's called in the film. He's raised in a brothel, right? So he learns to kind of store money. He learns to hustle, and he learns to fight in order to like protect the women that he is raised with. So it's sort of this King Arthur tale where King Arthur isn't just immediately the hero, right? He isn't just immediately this chosen person. Like, he has no idea who he is through the majority of the movie, and I appreciate that. How he kind of became the person that he is was entirely on his own. He didn't have, Merlin guiding his steps or anything of that nature. And this is the first King Arthur tale where Merlin is mentioned, and I think you see him for a very brief second, but for the majority, he's not anywhere in the film. He's not a major playing character in this film, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. I love like the band of sort of misfits that is kind of led by Digimon Hansu. I absolutely love him. I think he is a wonderful actor. This is just one of those movies where if you're looking for a King Arthur legend and you're looking for something that's completely unique, this will be your tale. It has these really cool creatures. There are giant snakes and giant bats and these women. I'm not entirely sure what they're supposed to be, but they are kind of able to grant powers to Jude Law's character, which is how he kind of ended up gaining control or gaining power in the first place. And I want to say it's like a mother and her 2 daughters, but they're half women, half squid, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I always used to think they were snakes, but kind of the tentacles sort of have squid-like properties, I guess would be the word. But I love that sort of uniqueness to a creature. It's not like a typical mermaid or something, you know, creature that would be in the water. Like they made these sort of otherworldly women squid type things. And I love it. I love that kind of stuff, right? The giant elephants are also one of my favorite things in this movie. You see them at the very, very beginning and you never see them again, which is super sad. They also did something sort of similar, I want to say, in Horizon Forbidden West, that there are these like giant mechanical elephants and I was stoked about them. I don't know what it is about like giant elephants and using them in battle that just brings me so much joy, but it does. It just does. It works. I love that kind of stuff. So definitely go check out King Arthur Legend of the Sword if you haven't. I know not very many people loved it, but I think it definitely deserves love. I think it should be like the Star Wars prequels where people just kind of slept on it a little bit and then it makes a comeback and people love it. I really wish that we had gotten more of these. I had heard it was supposed to be like a trilogy, but because it didn't do well, the other movies were canceled, and I super wish we could get them again. I want more tales of King Arthur. I absolutely loved this one. So let me know what you thought of King Arthur Legend of the Sword. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.